Okay, this is a video on slop and sloof. Now, slop is sales lost on price, and slop should be 50% of your potential orders. You should be losing 50% of your potential orders on price. Now, I haven't got time to explain a lot of detail about that here, but a very quick look at that. What happens as you put your price up, that's the price going up, is that your quantity sold goes down. But if you multiply the two together, what you find is that your turnover will have a peak somewhere in the middle there, because obviously here your price is ridiculously low and your turnover's low, and here your quantity sold is really low, so your turnover's low. But in the middle, you've got the sweet spot for turnover. But for profit, which is the thing that you really want, it'll be more to the right here. So that's what your profit will look like as opposed to your turnover. And you can model this on a spreadsheet. It's very easy to put your own figures in. So assuming we want to maximize our profit, we want to be here, and this will be the 50% point. Another way to look at this, and I've made separate videos on this, is that if you line up all your potential customers, and this is how much they will pay, okay, and let's suppose that this is your cost here, then if you charge a price where nearly all of them will pay it, let's say you charge a price here, your profit is going to be this. So you'll lose a few at this end, and you'll make all these sales, but you'll make these sales for a really low price. So you've left all this money on the table. If 90% of people pay your price and your slop, your sales lost on price, is only 10%, that means 90% of people are buying from you, and 90% of people would have paid more. 90% of people think you're too cheap, and you've left all this money on the table and your profit is only there. But if you go to the 50% slot point here, where you only get these sales and you lose these ones here, and this is painful for salespeople, of course, they don't like to lose half their customers. But if you do that, your profit is this rectangle here, and that is bigger than you had before. Now, if your sales lost on price go up to 80 or 90%, then clearly, you're selling up here. You've become too expensive now. You're only selling a small amount, and your profit is going to be this. It's probably actually going to be similar than when your slop, your sales lost on price, was only 10%. So the 10% of the 90 are actually quite similar, and I'd much rather lose 90% of my sales and only have to do a small amount of work and make the same money if I was choosing between those two. But the best one of all is this one in the middle, where your slop is 50%. So most people's slop is not big enough. But I also want to mention sloof, sales lost on other factors. And your sloof should be 0. You don't want to lose any sales on other factors. It's okay to lose sales on price because you're getting money back for those lost sales because you're making more money from the 50% who do buy from you. So to lose some stuff on price is beneficial, but to lose stuff for other factors is always a waste. So you never want to lose sales because of, for example, poor quality or your market reputation. And you never want to lose sales for customer service. And you never want to lose sales because of bad sales techniques, untrained salespeople, a bad sales experience. If somebody goes into a car showroom and doesn't buy the car because they don't like the salesperson, that's a crime. If someone goes in and doesn't buy the car because it's too expensive, that's okay, because other people will buy it for a higher price and you're making more profit. So things like unclear website, that's just a crime to lose sales because of that. Or to lose sales because there's too much of a queue and people are having to wait. Either queuing on the phone, or they have to wait for quotes, or maybe you never get back to them, all that sort of thing. That's just crazy. That is sloof, and sloof should be 0. Okay, you shouldn't be losing anything. Sales lost on other factors, you shouldn't be losing any of that. So the first thing is try to fix sloof. But I want to finish with something interesting, which is, what if your sloof is, let's say, 40%? So let's say you have got all these things going on. And we've all got a certain amount of sloof, of course. I think you should try to get it down to only 10 or 20%. But suppose your sloof is 40%. Am I still saying that your slop should be 50%? Because then you'd be losing 90% of your business. And the answer is no. What I'm saying is if your sloof is 40%, there's another 60 who are coming through to look at the price. And of those 60%, you should be aiming to lose 30. You should be aiming to lose 50% of the ones who get past sloof. So your slop should be 50% of whatever's left after sloof. But that does mean in total you're losing 70% of your work. And it's pretty strong to say my price is going to be high enough to lose half of the remaining 60%. I've already lost 40, but I'm going to lose another 30 because of price. But that's what you must do to maximize your profit.